Hi everyone. So today we are going to discuss on the five principles which are needed for a success in life. Now, success is a very subjective term. So, success could be personal success, it could be success in your relationship, it could be success in your career, it could be success in your education. But this is, something subtler than that, and these principles that we are going to talk about are those primordial or fundamental principles that define your character and helps you in a longer run. So the first principle is shama or forgiveness, right? So forgiveness towards your own self and forgiveness towards others. Why is forgiveness needed? For a very simple reason, that it helps you to be at ease with your own self. Let's take about forgiveness to our own self. Hmm? What happens generally is that people uh, generally tend to be too hard on their own self, right? So, they set high benchmarks for themselves, and nothing is ever good enough. So, what happens is that mostly people give up in frustration, and frustration creeps in because generally one expects a lot of good things, bigger things from our own self. So, one has to understand that even though we may be giving our 100%, but a lot of factors may not be needed what it needs to be at that given point of time. So if one practices kshama or forgiveness towards one's own self, one can realize that it's fine even though I'm giving my 100% and things are not currently working for me. That means that I have to just keep moving. um, Forgiveness towards others. Now, how does forgiveness towards others help? Especially, let's take about relationships. Every time you have a fight or somebody says something bad to you, always consider that would you want to keep your anger or hatred towards that person, or would you value your relationship towards that person, which has taken so long for it to get built, right? And if one forgives the other person, what happens then? A, you feel peace at yourself. B, you can face that person. And when I say forgiveness, it isn't about passive forgiveness. You know, when somebody bullies you, or a lot of people may unknowingly hurt you, or their behavior may hurt you. At that point of time, you have to first forgive that person. However, skillfully communicate your discontentment or grievances with that person. That can come up better with that person understanding his mistake only when you forgive that person. Otherwise, what will happen is you will be more bitter towards that person, and or you will never speak about the problems that may have occurred, and that is very deteriorating in having a healthy relationship, and which is a very crucial factor for a leader, wherein he has to manage teams and he has to be with so many stakeholders. So he has to practice forgiveness. Forgiveness is the first quality. The second quality is arjava or sincerity. You know, sincerity gives you a strength of character. Sincerity helps you be more clear in your thoughts. It helps you have a definite vision about what you want in your life. Hmm? And it strengthens your relationships. It gives you conviction in your mission or vision, and you will see the more sincere you are, the more believable you become, and the more believable you become, you will start getting help in achieving your goals in life. So sincerity helps opening up avenues for oneself, and hence it's a very very uh, uh, primordial quality that is needed in order to be successful. The third is tosha or santosha or contentment. Now, again, here we are not talking about passive contentment, wherein you say, "Oh, let thy will be done." No, it is said that God helps those who helps themselves. So it is about active contentment. Now, what do you mean by active contentment? Active contentment meaning first be contented of where you are. What is your current situation? Be it wherever you are in life. As a leader, when one is looking at solving complex problems, especially conflict management, one has to be contented within himself. Now, what happens when one practices contentment is that one gets the ability to look at the situation through a neutral perspective. Also, a very important thing about contentment is it gives you a sense of strength, wherein you have this feeling that I have enough, and hence people cannot, I do not need anything from anybody. uh, and thereby you switch from a sense of wanting to a sense of giving. That can only come if you practice contentment in your life. Be contented to good things, smaller things. Be contented that you have a good family, you have good friends, you have a good healthy body. God has been, nature has been so kind to us, right? And contentment is a practice that really helps one go a long way. uh, the fourth principle or the quality needed for a successful leader is daya or compassion. Now, how does compassion helps a leader? It helps a creating a healthy relationships with one's peers, especially when you're managing a team. You understand the strengths and weaknesses of your own team members. You're able to see through the diversity of your team and thereby mentor each one of them. For example, you may be having a team of people wherein you may have achievers, and then you may have learners, and then you may have underachievers in your team. So if you do not have compassion towards the team, what will happen is you'll treat all of them equally. However, when you have compassion, you will provide more opportunities and responsibilities to people who are achievers, thereby giving them a sense of ownership. Whereas you will mentor the learners to help them come up the learning curve, which is creating a win-win situation for your own team. Also, being very compassionate towards one's own self. For example, you want to lose weight, and if you're not achieving your results or target the way you want, then being compassionate towards one's own self will help one realize that you have done what could be done, and so what if the results are delayed, but they will never be denied. It gives you the strength of perseverance to walk through the situation. A lot of time, when your relationships doesn't work, you're very, very hard on yourself. At that time, the most important thing is to practice compassion towards your own self, to realize that it is not your mistake. Maybe it's not even that person's mistake, it was just not meant to be. So much was the destiny of the relationship, right? Similarly about career. So practicing compassion towards own self is as important as practicing compassion towards others. And the last is satyam, or following the truth, or abiding in the truth. Now, what is truth? Truth is anything that does not change, right? That doesn't, truth is not subjected to change. Now, what does that mean? Is this body truthful? Is this the body truth? No, because this body has changed, right? Like, if you were 8 months old till now, the whole body has changed. Soon, 10 years later, this body will change. So this body is not the truth. Are the relationship or this world, are they truth? No, because even they will change, right? So when one realizes this, one sees, oh, there is something in me that has not changed. And that, when one abides in that truth, one can see the sublimity of this existence, and is able to again pass through the opposites in life. Because at the end of the day, nothing is any which way the truth. It's just like a movie, right? But that truth, or that sincerity, or the smile, or the compassion, or the forgiveness, these are truths because they never change. Hmm? So these are the five basic principles that I think is a must have if you want to be successful in your life, in your relationships, in your career, in your health goals, um, towards the society, and towards yourself. Right? The first one is shama, which is forgiveness. Second is arjava, which is sincerity. Third is tosha, which is contentment. And the fourth one is daya, which is compassion. Fifth one is satyam, which is truth. Now, let us also consider mumukshatva as a point. Why? What is mumukshatva? Mumukshatva is the spirit of inquiry. The spirit of inquiry will start from the gross and lead on to subtler things in life, wherein you'll understand, why are things happening around me, to why am I getting angry, to who am I, to what is my purpose in life. So it follows that curve, follows that bell curve. Actually, it isn't a bell curve, it kind of flattens. So once you had this question of who am I, then I don't think, it doesn't go up or down, it stays there, and then you just keep wondering about it. Question dissolves. So spirit of inquiry will always create that fire in you to pursue things, um, to go ahead and find out. So it's very, it is very, very important to have a sense of, or a spirit of inquiry in oneself. The next thing I feel is freedom. To be free, or it starts with the need of freedom, right? We want that next big car, or we want that next big relationships, or we want that next big house, in order to be free, right? But everything that is happening in this world is actually a reflection of your own self. So if you're free from inside, then the world ceases to exist for you, and you can actually be more useful to the world when you're free from inside. Right? What do you mean by free? Free from your own habits and obsessions and desires. Now, what does that mean? To have no desires, no habits, and no obsession? No, definitely not. You can have your desires, you can have your obsessions, you can have your habits, but do not let it overpower you. You are bigger than your own mind. The quality of your life depends upon the state of your mind, and thereby it is your responsibility to take care of your mind through learning some breathing techniques, learning some rhythmic breathing exercises like sudarshan kriya, which is taught in art of living, that helps you to calm your mind. And when your mind is calm, you can be much more successful, than being having a disturbed mind. Like, for example, there is a clean lake, okay, a quiet clean lake. You can see the bottom, right? You can see how beautiful fishes exist, and there are so much of corals in there, and such beautiful flora fauna you can see only when the sea is quiet, or the lake is river, or the surface is still. But the moment there is some disturbances, all the inner beauty that exists cease to appear. So practicing yoga, meditation, practicing these five basic principles will get you the strength to keep the surface still. That much for today. We'll come up with a few more sessions on success mantras. And today, what I spoke about was from this very beautiful book called Ashtavakra Geeta. So, Ashtavakra is supposed to be a Brahma Rishi who had given the knowledge of self realization to King Janaka, who, learning these principles, led a very just and a very kind, a very empathetic, and hence a very prosperous kingdom of Mithila. So these are very relevant points even in these days, and hence very important for all of us who are youngsters, to ponder upon them. And thereby, I really invite everybody to ponder upon these points in order to reflect your failures and make them as opportunities or stepping stones for success. Remember, the quality of your life is dependent upon the state of your mind. So it is extremely important to take care of your mind. So do some yoga and some pranayams and learn some breathing techniques like Sudarshan Kriya and do meditate twice a day. Until then, you take care.